JK, how you doing?
Hi, Han. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Much better.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Right.
Hi, Han. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think there is a background noise. Like I'm trying to dial in from the phone so that we don't get disconnected.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go ahead and get started? I can pull up the materials that I attached in that email to you earlier.
Sure.
Okay. So, JK, have you ever worked with an agile team, like a Scrum team?
Hi, yes.
Cool. Okay. So we have an agile team that just like they're coaches that help all the Scrum teams get agile. So we follow an agile calendar that they produce for the department, and we follow that cadence. So we have all of our iterations, our PIs are all dictated by that team. So I also will need to share with you the agile calendar so you know what cadence we're on. But I wanted to talk to you about the different ceremonies that we do. I can share my screen. Let me know when you're able to see it.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. All right. So the first big planning session we have is the PI planning. So we do this once every 10 weeks. We use the 5th iteration of each PI to plan for this session. For us, I know typically PI plannings are like 2 days in person. You get in the conference room, use stickies and plan out your iterations. But for us, the virtual nature of the planning sessions now, what I've been doing is I've been cutting it down to about 4 hours. Like I do it half day. And we go through, it's a little bit more of a formalized planning session. So we go through like the business context. So our business partners will come in and present, and then we'll have our technology team present the technology strategy. And then we dive into the actual iteration planning, and we go iteration by iteration, and we swap user stories according to the capacity, et cetera. And then at the end of the session, we talk about dependencies and risks, and we all vote to see how everyone feels about the plan. Have you run a PI planning session before?
Sorry, repeat that. Have you
ever run a PI planning session before in the past?
Yes. So my question is, are you going safe? Is it safe?
Yes.
Oh.
Safe. Yep.
Do we have RTEs, release train engineer?
So we have an RTE, but the way ANH is structured, our Scrum teams don't really fall into a train. We're all independent. We all work on independent projects, so we don't really roll up the same deliverables. So our PI plannings are just Scrum team by Scrum team, and we only focus on our Scrum team's deliverables.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Then why do we do PI planning? We can call it as a sprint planning, right? It's a separate.
Yeah, so we still do PI planning because a lot of times our deliverables are very short periods of time. So we'll have deliverables that we can knock out in 2 to 3 months. So we just go ahead and plan out that deliverable, and we call it PI planning, and we structure it like PI planning, but it's really, we do iteration planning for that deliverable. So for example, we have the 3 deliverables we have this year for the API program is US, Spain, and Japan. Our most recent PI planning, we just planned the US release. And we just did however many iterations it would take to finish that development for that one release.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Yep. Every enterprise is unique. All right.
Yeah, it's just, we tend to go off the beaten path, but we're trying to follow the rules, but the best that we can. But this is a PI planning deck that I use that ends up being really successful. It just provides a good structure for how our agile team is coached, like things done. But you can adapt it to however you've done it in the past, or if you find something to be, we can improve something, by all means, go for it. But you can use this as a template if you would like.
Yeah, awesome. This is really good. You did an excellent job. I appreciate sharing that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Another thing that for PI planning, and I also use for iteration planning, is pulling it up. We use this worksheet that was also provided by the Agile coaches. It's pretty nice. So this worksheet just starts out, this tab is just talking about, your team roster and your iterations that you're planning in the PI planning session. But you also have tabs where you can do your capacity calculation on the right-hand side, and then be able to plot your user stories on the left-hand side and see how your load versus your capacity is looking. And then you can make adjustments based off that.
And hold on.
Yeah.
Can you record? My question is, can we record the meeting sessions with stakeholders? Is it allowed? Do you do that?
100%. Yes.
Okay. Can we do this here?
Mm-hmm.
So that I can,
yeah.
I don't want to miss out, because
this meeting is being recorded.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So this PI planning worksheet I use for both iteration planning and PI planning. I want to make it a little bigger. Because I really like the capacity calculation side of it. Really makes people think about what is your capacity. Are you split between multiple projects? Are you taking time off? Do you anticipate any glitches in your availability? So in this section right here, this column, we call it the initial 10 points. But 10 points just means it represents the number of days that you're available in the iteration. So in an iteration, it's 2 weeks, 2 week sprint. So it's 5 business days per week, so 10 business days total that each person has if they're 100% allocated. If they're not, then, if they're like 70% allocated, then we put 7 days. Or if they're 40% allocated, we put 4 days for them. And then we subtract any holidays or PTO. That gives us the capacity per iteration. And then we take out 20% of the total capacity for meetings, for administrative tasks, for other things that they have to spend time on that's not development. And that's how we come up with our total capacity. So that's just something you can take a look at. The calculations are all here. So if you have any questions on it, you can just let me know. This is just the easiest thing that I use. So, yeah.
Okay, this is the standard across every team, right? We are not doing.
I think it depends on the team. For us, so the Agile coaches just gave this as an optional resource. I use it because it worked for me and it worked for the team at the time. But if you have additional resources that you would want to use, you can by all means bring them in.
Okay.
Cool. So those are the two big resources for PI planning. It's definitely the biggest planning session that we've got. The other ceremonies and routine meetings that we've got, obviously we have our stand-up. We are actually pretty good about keeping it 15 minutes. That's also because we have like a follow-up meeting later that day. That's just for like an open working session. We call it this ACM daily call. It's just a call in the afternoon for 30 minutes that I just use as the time for people to talk to each other to get rid of any roadblocks that they've got. And we pull in a couple of other groups into that call that they need to talk to, like the Salesforce team, or, you know, maybe we need to pull in the authentication team or the database team. We pull them into that call and let them talk through any questions or issues they're facing. So those are the two daily calls we do.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Other things, the normal iterations, routines, obviously iteration planning. I usually just replace the stand-up with the planning session, so it's tomorrow. I just extended it to 30 minutes, our stand-up to 30 minutes, and we're just going to spend the time talking about our iteration plan. My goal for the team, and I've been trying to get better at it, and I'm trying really hard to reduce the amount of time they're in meetings. Because I feel like some of our developers, they've just gotten sucked into so many discussions that are not productive. So I'm trying to reduce it on my end as much as possible. So that's my small contribution. If I have a planning meeting or a review and demo, I cancel the stand-up and just use the time during the planning session or the review and demo to get their quick updates. So, and the review and demo, that's done obviously at the end of the iteration. So the review is just when we, you know, we can talk with the team and we just say like, hey, this is what we committed to at the beginning of the iterations, but we actually ended up completing. And then if there is any working piece of like technology that we can go ahead and demo for our business partner, we will. As of lately, we haven't really been able to demo much because we've had so many blockers in the way. We did a bunch of demos at the beginning of the project, but I think that's going to start picking up again because we're getting our, those blockers are getting removed so that they can actually start building functional software again, where we can actually see a demo. A lot of stuff they've been doing has been back-end work that we can't really demo. So I think that should start picking up in the next iteration here. And then the other thing we do is an iteration retrospective. So this can also be tacked on to the review and demo, which spend 15 minutes and talk about what we can do better as a team. This is also really successful right at the beginning when we were all getting to know each other. You know, what processes would help the team actually get things done. And one of the things was that afternoon working session call. So the team's pretty good about doing this. Some people are resistant, but our team's pretty good about giving feedback. that's done once an iteration as well. Okay. All right, and then, so this is just other routine meetings that are outside of like the Agile cadence. So we have, like I said, APM calls is afternoon call. And then we have refinement meetings and PO sync-up calls. So refinement meetings, we have a BA on the team. Her name is Rachel. Currently she's our only BA, where I know we're just onboarding another BA offshore with PCS. I mean, not PCS, Cognizant. Her name is Mega. And she's really, really good. I think she's going to be a great asset to the team after talking to her. So Rachel is going to lead these refinement calls. Once an iteration, she's going to meet up with the groups within the Scrum team, get their user stories, get some more detail around the user stories, meet up with Mega and offshore, and talk to her, like, divide and conquer some of the work. So Rachel will own that cadence. And if you have any questions on the user stories themselves, she'll know the answer. And then lastly, okay, cool. And then lastly, back to PO sync-up call. So I know typically in Safe and Agile, the product owner sits with us every day and is involved with a lot of things. Our PO, she's involved, but she's a little bit too high up, too senior to sit in on every single call. She's just, her schedule is wild. So instead of having her attend every Scrum call, we just have a once a week catch up with her. And we keep that audience pretty small just so that we can get to the meat of the meeting. So what we do in those calls is we update her on the user story progress and the iteration. We go over any work that's been completed and needs for approval, like she has to go and accept the user story. And any questions that the team has about the direction, the business direction, we bring that up in the call and talk through it with her. So usually this is, the Scrum Master, Rachel will join as BA, and then Sanjay joins. So it's pretty small group. Talking with Amanda. Oh, and also Vikram. So he's our tech lead. He also joins the call. Yeah, that happens right now. I have to schedule for every Friday, and that's been pretty successful so far. Okay. So do you have any questions on any of this?
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I just kept muting it. I got disconnected in the phone. It's heavy thunderstorm here, like, so you can't. Maybe you might hear some disturbances in the background. Don't mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, stay safe. Thunderstorms are kind of scary. Yeah, but we have this session recorded so you can easily go back to it and everything's written out. So if you have any questions at all, you just let me know. I can answer anything.
Okay. The first question comes to my mind. Why are we having PA planning on Fridays? Is it usual? You are not having the sprint from the beginning of next week, right? Or is it from the next week?
So I'm doing iteration planning on Friday. So real quick, let me rally. I'm going to show you the date. So technically, the iteration actually starts today for the new iteration. However, we have a lot of meetings today. There is I forgot to add one meeting. There is a weekly infrastructure call that's an hour long. And the infrastructure team hosts it, but we go into detail about any outstanding user stories, requirements, action items on the infrastructure side, since we're getting to the point in the project where we're doing all this production readiness preparation. So it's pretty intensive. And so we go over a lot of user stories in this call anyway. So I just didn't want to add another meeting to the day because everyone was planned with it. So tomorrow we'll have the iteration planning. That's just a timing issue. You can easily change that if you want. If you want to have them right on Thursday or Wednesday, you can. So in Rally, so this iteration goes from 6.3 to 6.16. So it starts today and this Wednesday. The team already met with Rachel, and she specifically went over, okay, what user stories do you need to work on next iteration, and what kind of details do we need to put around it, so everyone's aware of what their next step is. This is more of a capacity check, this planning session, just to make sure that if they need extra help, that we can get them extra help, or if we need to help them prioritize certain work items because they're a little bit overly ambitious, then we'll address that in the call tomorrow. But yeah, there's no reason for it to be on Friday. It's just when we can fit it in.
Okay, so this sprint starts on Thursday and ends on Wednesday of the following week. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah. Trying to think.
And who creates the product backlog? Does Rachel or Amanda creates the product backlog? You said refinement session will be with them, right?
Right. So Rachel is the one managing our backlog. Amanda is driving it at a high level during our PO sync-up calls. And then Rachel will take the direction from Amanda and go and break it out with the team. So she'll collect the user stories, manage them in the backlog correctly, make sure they roll up to the correct features and the correct capabilities.
Okay. And sorry, I'm trying to. So during the refinement session, just business analyst and you and me, right? Or is it the team doesn't involve?
So for her refinement sessions, just for the sake of time, she usually just drives them, and she works with members of the team. So what you'll see with this Scrum team, we have a lot of very smart technical folks who come in and sometimes derail us with some of the technical rabbit holes that we go down. So sometimes, actually, more times than not, there's a lot of people who get overshadowed in the call. So we have like 3 different groups within our Scrum team. We've got our MuleSoft team. That's one team. It's like 3 people. The next team that we have is the infrastructure group, and then we have then we've got like our QA, DevOps, and DevOps crew. Those are our main folks. So we found that when it comes to refinement sessions, to make better use of everyone's time, Rachel just schedules like a one-off call with the Neil team and collects their user stories. Then she goes and talks to the infrastructure team, gets their user stories, and then she talks to DevOps and QA and gets their user stories. And then in the stand-ups and the working calls, everyone is able to see what everyone has chosen for iteration, and we're able to bring it all together. But she's been running those. If you want to be on those calls, you're more than welcome to. Because I'm running another project, I physically don't have the time to. So that's why I haven't been involved. But I think it's totally fine if you were.
Okay, thank you. how about putting pressure on the business side? Like, how does that work? I want to understand the logistic, like with Sanjay or Amanda.
So Amanda's pretty easygoing. She's probably one of the nicest product owners I've worked with so far. But she does have, like, she just really believes in technology. So she doesn't want to be a form of stress or pressure on us. She sings our high praises. But Sanjay is very much an execution man. So he will push our team pretty hard to get it done a little bit faster than what we'd expect. And I'm not saying like unreasonable amounts, but he just pushes the team to try and do it like one step quicker than what they're used to. So I think that you'll see that when it comes to pressure, probably Sanjay will put a little bit more pressure on the team than Amanda will. Our calls with Amanda are very enjoyable. It's not a big scary meeting. I've been on other projects where business partners are a little tough. She's not. But you'll see on the call with Sanjay, like she'll ask a question about something and Sanjay will jump on it or, tell her that, the team will get it done by next week, but we don't wait until the team yet. So sometimes that comes up. But ultimately the team is, I think he does have a good sense there because the team always figures it out and gets it done. And now they've gotten to the point where they expect that. And so they're already one step ahead of the game. So that hasn't really been an issue lately. That was just the beginning. So it hasn't been bad.
Okay, that's good to know. So in how long this iteration has been going on, right? Is it we just started, or do you have any retro documents? What about the feedback loop? Apart from Amanda, any other stakeholders join, like from the business?
Amanda's our main point of contact. The other stakeholder that's involved that is a bit of a challenge is the Salesforce team. So the main that Visio flow, I think I tried to go through budgeting and connection issues. Hold on 1 second. The Salesforce team does play a pretty decent role in our delivery since they are on the business side implementing it. So this is our delivery flow, or this is the flow user journey that we're trying to create. Salesforce is a pretty big part of it. So they have to be fully aware of what's going on our side of things. And we've been looping the technology team for Salesforce in on those working session calls. But their business owner who owns Salesforce, he's a little bit of a challenge. His name's Alex Zubarella. And he just thinks that everything should be done through Salesforce, even if that's not the direction given to us by Amanda. So that's one of those things that usually when there's a clash with Alex, I've been just handing that back to Sanjay to work with Amanda and Alex to get that resolved. Alex is a little bit above, he's quite a few levels above my pay grade, so kind of confronting him one-on-one is not helpful. It's something Sanjay just has to face. But we have figured out how to deal with it. We talked to Jeff Schwibert, I didn't say his name. Jeff is our tech liaison for Salesforce. So we just talked to him about it. And anything else, any other questions, we usually go directly to Amanda from him. So that's the only other business stakeholder.
Okay.
Other groups in our team,
So
there's 3 groups. So we have MuleSoft team, infrastructure team, DevOps QA, those are all of our horizontal teams. And I'll have to send you a list of names of folks, a roster to get in touch with. But they've been working very well as a team, so that's good.
Yeah, thank you. That will be helpful. So, you mean partner here? Who are the partners? The customers, or you are talking about the internal partners?
So when I refer to partners, and you're talking about in this flow right here?
Yes.
So maybe we can spend some time looking at this too. So when I say partners, it's the problem statement of this delivery is that we are trying to, AIG is trying to expand its business with partnerships. And right now, the problem statement is that it takes way too long to onboard a partner. It takes like months on end to onboard a partner. So what this program is trying to do is we're trying to expedite that and try and get a partner and like fully integrated within a month of them signing a contract, which is kind of a big promise. But how we're going to do it is we're going to have a core set of APIs available as like a self-service function. So the flow would be that partner, let me take it back one more step. We have a marketing site that shows what an API program is. That marketing site would get placed on like Facebook and Google. We've had campaigns to promote the AIG API program. As a partner like a Costco or Target or just any company out there that wants to provide supplemental insurance to their employees or to their members, they can reach out, they can click on ads, they can go to our marketing site, and let me show you what the marketing site looks like. So let's say Target is interested in partnering with AIG to provide more insurance for their employees. They can go click on the ad and they'd be landing on this marketing site where it just tells you, okay, this is what an API program is. This is the benefits. These are the products available that you can provide to your employees or to your members. And then just some more fun facts, technical details of how it works, etc. If they wanted to move forward in the process and become a partner, they would have to click Learn More. When they click Learn More, this form pops up. This is where you can obviously collect their first name, last name, email, company name. They click Submit. And in our flow here, all that information would be fed in Salesforce. In Salesforce, a partner profile would be created. And that's where the business development manager and the integration manager meaning our team, someone on our team, IT representative, would look at the potential partner, and they set up a phone call with the partner. Once they talk to the partner, they would see if they were a good fit for the program, meaning that their systems are set up in a way where the standard APIs that we have created would work. And now if the partner needs a lot of customization, they need a lot of help to be able to integrate, then they would not be part of the API program because it would probably take additional months to get them on board. So they'd probably just remove them from the program and just work with them on the side. If the partner is a good fit, then we'd move them forward, and the BDM would take that partner profile, put in the rest of the information, submit for approval on the legal side, and then get a contract rolling. Once the contract is signed, then in Salesforce, partners marked as active. And that's when we know, okay, we can work with the partner now, share this link to our developer portal, and let them start developing using our API. The developer portal originally was going to be like password protected. So we were going to give them, hi, we're now an official partner with AIG. Here is your developer ID and password to get into our portal to be able to access our APIs. And this is what it's going to look like.
So the question is, anyone, any agency can become a partner, or how does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, any agency can become a partner. I'm sure there's criteria of what would be a good partner for AIG, but it's really any company that wants to promote AIG products on their page, and I think AIG probably gives them like a discount or something for being a partner.
I see.
Yeah, so it's like a self-service type of integration. So this developer portal, we would have this section right here called APIs, and these are our APIs. So the developer on the partner side, like Target has signed our contract. They are now a partner with AIG. Yay! They have a developer that now they say, okay, Target developer, go work with AIG, get us integrated. We provide them with a developer portal. They would go in, they would get the correct API for US. We go in here, and these are the 3 products available. So let's say Target, they worked out a contract where they're only going to promote or partner for one of our products. They want to do accidental death and disability. So they go into API details. They would have reference documentation. This is like this would be like a developer guide would be stored here with like the technical how to use the API. And then you have API specification, and this is where you see the actual endpoint. You can go in and, well, back that up. This is a demo instance, so it's a little glitchy. But the idea is you'd be able to go in and actually see the code. There we go. And so really they would just copy paste this into their code. So it's completely self-service. If they have any issues, then they would contact us and we work with them. That would just be for MVP. But for MVP 2 and 3 down the road, we would want to have like a feedback and discussion section where they could, if they have any issues or they, have any advice for other developers of how to use certain APIs, or it would just be a kind of like a discussion forum. And we would have someone on the business side and on the IT side monitoring it, making sure that everyone's able to use APIs correctly. And that's when we have like a ton of partners. Right now, we're just going to be having 3 to 5 partners this year. So we're not scaling those capabilities up yet, but we have them in the back of our heads. Like news and blogs will not be on there for MVP 1, but for later on, these will be available and there will be someone updating these.
Okay. Got it. We went to this. What about the feedback, right? You said, are we doing some retro effectively? How do you document on the action items? It's like what went well, what needs to improve, those things, right? Is there any?
So how we have done it in the past is mainly through email, which is probably not the best system. In Rally itself, though, there is a spot for that, and I can show you what that looks like. Have you ever used Rally before, or have you used Jira primarily?
Primarily Jira.
Got it. Okay. And I'll try and make sure you can attend. There's a Rally training next week that will walk. There's a bunch of folks who have just come on board, who also are used to Jira. So I can add you to that.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
My boxes. Okay, so let me make sure this is the right view. Hold on. These are all the iterations here for all of the teams. Let's see, so we are in 2021 PI3, iteration 1, this is Team Skyfall. So I just put this little info right on. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so what the Agile coaches want us to do, which doesn't happen all the time, and it should. So I highly recommend doing this. I used to do this when we had more time. But in this section, this is where you can capture the iteration notes or the iteration retro notes. So you don't have to worry about the theme box, but there's a note section, retro actions, retro deltas, and retro pluses. So retro pluses is what are the good things that happen. Retro deltas is what could we improve on. And actions is, okay, well, what are we going to do to improve the issues that we found here? So it's like, who is going to take ownership of it? What are we going to actively do to get better? And that's where you can save it iteration over iteration and refer back to it later.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So we had like how many iterations so far? 13?
So no. So what have we?
I can't see.
We started back in the end of February with like a POC. So let's see. I think that was back here. So we've gone through a couple PIs together. So this is, well, really one PI. We started at the end of the first PI. This was just a POC, and then when iteration or PI2 started is when our actual development work started. So I can send you what we had as retros. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And every end of iteration, is there like any shippable product or demo that is done to review? You said like
So
review and demo.
Yeah, it's done if we're able to show something from a UI perspective. Like at the beginning of our journey together, we had a POC where we had a piece of the UI that we could show to the business and say, like physically show them what's been done. But recently, all of our work has been done in the back end. So the only thing to demo is the same exact POC. The only thing we could demo is, okay, nothing's changed because there's a bunch of stuff in the back end. It still works, but there's nothing we can really show you. But the next thing that I think we will be able to demo in this next iteration is the developer portal.
Okay.
Developer portal, yeah.
So that's the question I have. So the developer backend work, they just show the ticket, I completed this, and in the review, or we just say that like overall it's all together as a backend work and the business is okay with that?
Yeah, usually what happens in the review, and a lot of times we just review it with Amanda one-on-one, and we just tell her, hey, these are the things that we had to do in the back end to enable X, Y, and Z. This is the roadmap of what's going to happen next iteration. Like we showed her how the back end work was enabling future work, and she was fine with it. So she likes to see, like if there's any documentation that shows what we've done, she likes to see that. Anything tangible that we can show her, we do. But she is not technical. So Sometimes it's not as helpful to go into the details. We just try and show her how it enables future items.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. So the three things, and like the three main deliverables, like we've been saying, is the APIs themselves, the developer portal, and the marketing site. The APIs are done. The developer portal, as I'm sure you probably picked up on, we had some approvals that were blocking us from getting a license for this. So we got the approval yesterday, which is a big deal, yay. Now we can actually purchase the license for this, which the team is confident that we can be up and running. Like our developers can start messing around in the developer portal on Monday and actually move the real APIs into the developer portal. This is all the dummy instance. So really the only work they need to do in here is they need to upload the APIs, get the reference documentation together, and then they need to work on authentication to make sure that when someone goes in to try to use the API, that there's an authentication trigger that goes back to Okta, which is what we're using for authentication, and it's communicating with the developer portal. Those are the main things for that. It's not like we're building completely from scratch, so the work should pick up pretty quickly.
Okay. So you said Okta,
Yeah,
right? So it's not single sign-on or SSO with the Salesforce,
right?
Or not with the
Right.
Salesforce.
So the Salesforce piece is kind of happening in parallel with this. So the Salesforce team, we're working with them closely to make sure that any data that is passed back and forth between the AEM, like the marketing site, is given to Salesforce. We're saving it in the DB in Salesforce, so we're also saving it in our own personal DB on the A&H side. The caveat there, Salesforce team, kind of like a shadow IT team on the business side. We don't own, as A&H Accident and Health IT, we don't own anything on the Salesforce side. Those business partners are working with a different IT team to run their Salesforce platform. So when it comes to anything Salesforce, we try to maintain as much control over our data as possible, so that in the event that something breaks, something happens, we can reference it in our own DB rather than having to go ask Salesforce to let us be their DB, because that's a little bit of a weird relationship.
So that becomes a dependency, right? Then Salesforce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're trying to remove those dependencies by saving, kind of like saving a copy for ourselves, and not like at one point, you'll probably hear this come up, JK. This form that you're seeing right here, the Salesforce team wanted to own that form. They wanted to put a Salesforce form on top of the AEM, which is what this site's going to be built on. We own AEM, so that's good for us. We want to maintain that control, but they wanted to own the form piece, and we're not letting them. Because if we want to make any changes to the form, we have to go through their process, and they have releases every other month. So if we wanted to change the name of Learn More to Enroll Now, we would have to wait 2 months to get that changed, instead of our team going in and making a simple change.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so there's just certain things that we've had to do to maintain our control over.
So there is a conflict
our
of interest
process.
going on.
Yeah, which Jeff is really nice and easy to deal with, but they are very much Salesforce people. Like, they think that everything can be handled by Salesforce and everything should be Salesforce, when in reality, that's not how we're tackling this. So you'll probably see more of that in our ACM calls. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. I think I'm good for now. So you explained more than what I expected. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. One thing I want to let you know that I'm doing, there's a lot of just random process information. Like eventually, like I want, Robbie wants to make sure that I tell you about how we do our project reporting, things like that, which you and I will set more sessions to go over. But I'm creating a OneDrive folder, which I will share with you. And in them, I'm putting all the documents that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you can just come in here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, like in terms of documentation, how heavy are we in documentation? Because everything is on Rally and it's less documentation, or you explained, right? So the reporting.
Yeah, there's two main systems. There's Rally, which is like our day-to-day. And then there's this thing called PPM, which is where our PMO project reporting, like we report key risks and issues, we report milestone achievement. For me, quickly flash this up, I don't have too much time. But those are the only two systems that you have to update. And this one is only on a weekly basis. So it's not daily, thank goodness. I think we would lose our minds. But I'm typing up what fields we'll need to update, how to get to things. So this is our project here. And the fields that are like most important are the ones that are asterisk. So the status note, like overall, what's the status this week? What is our biggest risks and issues? If we are amber, then what are we going to do to go green, etc. So it's only a handful of fields, but it's really important. And then they use that information for everything else, so we don't have to do anything extra. Okay.
So on the project management side, like, okay. So this is the dashboard they need for weekly meetings, right? Okay.
Yes. And I have a bunch of how-to guides in here. And I'm working on a little Word document to kind of give you some idea of what needs to be tracked on a weekly basis. So we'll go over that in another safety session.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, real quickly, so I know, I'll try and send you a couple more things to look over. Are you getting my attachments? Sometimes I don't know what I'm allowed to send to an external email and what I'm not.
Yeah, even Cognizant has that restriction. I don't know. I can't look into my personal computer. And I am pressurizing both Cognizant as well as Sanjay. And I got an update saying that like they are reimaging the laptop and it will be shipped by tomorrow or probably this week.
Cool.
So hopefully by next Monday, I should be getting everything.
Awesome. Okay. So you're not getting any of the attachments that I'm sending?
Mm-hmm.
You are, or you are not?
Yeah.
You are. Okay. Cool. I just want to make sure that if I'm sending, it's not all for naught. So I'll send you just a couple more documents to look at, and then we can set up a couple more sessions like this. We'll record it on project reporting, and then I'll get you looped into Rally training. And I think you should still be able to attend that, even though you don't have your AIG email or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds good. So we have another call right now, ACM daily call.
Yes. Yes. So in this call, what I'm going to bring up with the team, so we got that approval called IRIS. That's the process that our team had to go through to bring in a new tool into AIG, which is that portal. That was really rigorous, and we just got the approval last night. So what we're going to go through is what are our next steps to get the licensing so that the developers can start work on the portal. And is there anything on the Salesforce end that needs to be done? And also what we need to do with the authentication. So just next steps there.
Okay, good. So is there we can access in our personal mobile AIG email or timesheet and all? Because I was kept asking by Cognizant, did you submit the timesheet? Do we need to do that?
Okay, so I don't think you'll be able to on your personal. I don't even know if you're going to be able to submit until you get your laptop. But what I'll do is I can get the team that manages the timesheet to submit it on your behalf, and we'll just put the correct hours aligning to the project.
Okay. Yeah. Because even Sanjay asked me, did you submit? Like it's overdue and it's not compliance. He said like, come on, I don't have the laptop. How do I access and where do I? And nobody gave me. So that is funny.
There's a pain. I don't know why they activate that before you even get your laptop. It's stupid. So yeah, let me send a note to the timesheet folks. I'll get them to submit it for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. All right. Well, I will talk to you in 3 minutes on this next call.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.